we poured our hearts in it. So I hope you guys really have fun. I hope, and all the diehard Breaking Bad fans and the diehard Better Call Saul fans can sit on the same couch and eat from the same popcorn and watch the same screen, and everybody's going to be happy.
So guys, I'm so excited to talk to you about Better Call Saul season 6. We're finally here. We're at the end. It's so fun. Tony, let's start with you. I love how Lalo is fleshed out with a very strong backstory. He's very charming, but there is a sinister quality to him. So I'm wondering, how did you find that balance between, creating this kind of personality?
Well, it all starts with the writing, to be honest with you. Gordon, Gordon, who created the character of Lalo, and obviously Peter and Vince. It started with look. The first time you see Lalo, he's cooking in the kitchen when Nacho shows up, and he's already dancing, and he's already kind of got this happy-go-lucky kind of grin to him. So I just kind of worked with that. You're just kind of at the mercy of the creators. So you propose stuff and you see how the character's kind of going. I wanted to do something that had some charm, because I hadn't really explored that in a character before. So I kind of wanted to throw in a little bit of charm into this sort of villain, so that just to make it different also, Yeah. And then we were just kind of working on that, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, until we get it right.
Yeah, and I think that makes him very rounded. There's so many layers to him, which makes it also more fun for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Michael, your character Nacho, I've been a Nacho ride or die since the beginning. I'm so worried about him all the time. I feel like there's death at every corner. So I'm wondering, he's very calm and collected, and the thing is, his actions are rooted in his love for his dad, which makes him such a redeemable character. But there is a visible tension in him. So I'm wondering, how do you play that without giving too much away?
Well, thank you for that compliment. I feel like I should stop talking. I don't think it'll get better than that. Anything I say from that will just make me look dumb. But thank you so much for that. For me, like Tony says, we are at the mercy of the writers, and you can't do a show with such incredible writers and not always give your hats off to the writers. For me personally, when I took on this role, I really wanted to kind of break the archetype of the kind of cartel gangster character. And someone I was just speaking to in an interview, Daniel, said that my character was breaking good. And I really like that. I like the idea that it was someone who was in this world, but who was trying to do the right thing, who had integrity, who wasn't perfect by any means, but who truly did not want to give into the dark side. And, honestly, it was just the writing just kind of helped me ride that wave. But I don't even know what I was saying. What was the question? I just had all the seasons flash in my head all at once. No, it's an existential crisis.
No, it's understandable. You guys have such a great fleshed out show. The characters are so rounded and they're just so well done. They're very layered and nuanced, and there's so many details to them. So I understand if you're there's a lot going on.
I just had a total bling. I was like, where am I? What's going on? Yeah, but,
right. But you guys have great scenes together too. But Tony, the heated scene between Lalo and Kim last season after Bagman, I cannot express how scared I was watching that scene. You did a very great job with Ray, and I'm wondering how does knowing about Kim and her relationship with Jimmy now shift Lalo's approach toward Jimmy? Because is she going to be a thorn in his side now going forward in this season, do you think? Can you tease?
To who? To what? I don't get it. What are you asking?
To Lalo. I'm wondering the relationship he has, that whole.
Are you going to kill Kim? Are you going to? That's what she's asking. If you are, we have a problem.
Yeah, there's just a lot of tension there. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be more scenes between you and Ray, because that was amazing too.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be something, huh? I wish I could tell you. I really do. I really do.
Okay. Well, both of your characters, they're mentioned in Breaking Bad, and they're more in a present tense, hinting that there is more of a life to them outside of this. So I'm wondering, do you think both your characters deserve to live outside of the series in another spinoff?
I don't know, man. That's not to Vince. I mean,
Vince and Peter. That's a question you ask the bosses. You know, these guys are masters.
Yeah,
they're masters, and we whatever they do, they're masters of these characters and of this world. Whatever they do, we're with them. And but I would say before we even think of that far, season 6 is by far our best.
yeah,
And it's operatic, it's tragic, it's heroic, it's bigger than life.
yeah.
And I can't wait for you guys to see it. I mean, we poured our hearts in it. So I hope you guys really have fun. I hope, and all the diehard Breaking Bad fans and the diehard Better Call Saul fans can sit on the same couch and eat from the same popcorn and watch the same screen, and everybody's going to be happy.
Yeah. What is it about season 6 that maybe surprised the two of you about your characters, especially this season? Like anything that came out to you, like, wow, I didn't think this would go in this direction, or without spoiling, of course.
Personally, I mean, everything. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen after we leave Lalo at the end of season 5, and just the road that they took and the way that this guy, what he does and where he goes and what happens is, I mean, no matter what you want to guess is going to happen, it's not even close to what happens, really. I mean, it is really something else. These guys, think about it. They had like an extra year to write everything because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's perfect, man. I mean, these guys really nailed it. I mean, I would say it's one of the best endings. It's not only just an ending to Better Call Saul, it's an ending to the whole Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul world, you know? So it's, I think it's as good as it's going to get, you know?
Michael, what about you?
What surprised me the most, you know, I feel like a character is, through the seasons, it's like painting a canvas, and you don't really know the whole scope of who this person is until it actually ends. It's like a life. You don't really know who a person is until after they've been around. And for me, I was just surprised by the size of Nacho's heart and the integrity, you know, of who this guy really was and how much does he really love his father, and how far he's willing to go, you know. That to me was a really pleasant surprise in the writing.
Yeah. And, you know, I spoke to Bob Odenkirk last week, and he told me that he believes the fans will be satisfied with the conclusion of the series. Do you guys think also fans are going to be satisfied with your characters' conclusions and the way that things end off without, of course, no spoilers, no spoilers.
100%.
It's the best season. It's the best season. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's the best season. And Vince and Peter are really, truly masters of the craft. I mean, I have nothing else to add other than hats off to those guys.
Yeah. And I love that the show's going to live on forever through streaming, so we can always just keep catching it on and on. And I feel like that's one of the things that, people will keep watching it over. So what's it feel like knowing that these fans have, like, they've lived through this show? They've, you know, it's been so long. It's come from the beginning of, you know, time with Breaking Bad to now and Better Call Saul. And how do you guys feel about that, knowing that, you know, fans are going to keep watching it and new people will start to watch, and new audiences? We
love them. Yeah. That's how we feel. We're here because of them, you know, like, without the fans, we wouldn't be doing this interview. We would be acting by ourselves in our bathroom mirrors, you know. Yeah. So we owe everything to the fans. We love them from the bottom of our hearts. They reach out to us all the time through social media, on the streets, and I can't tell you how grateful we are to them. And they've changed our lives. So from the bottom of our heart, thank you.
Mm-hmm, of course. Well, you know, guys.
And we feel responsible.
Of course.
I really do, for being so lucky. You know, I want to give back as much as I can.
Yeah, you guys are so blessed. This has been such an amazing show. And I'm so sad it's going to, you know, end and stuff, but I'm so happy that we got to see the conclusion. I'm so blessed I got to talk to you guys too. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm just excited to see how everything turns out this season. I'm so excited to talk to you about Better Call Saul season 6. You know, I've been a fan of the show since the beginning. I've been a fan of Breaking Bad. I'm just so excited to see how the entire thing ends. Now I feel like we're in the end game and it's just going to get very much more intense. So, you know, right off the bat, like, you know, there have been times that Howard appears to make things right, like especially after Chuck's death, and he really wants to make amends with Jimmy, but now so many things have built up that I feel like that's never going to happen. So do you think the care that he had for Jimmy was genuine, or did he always have like an ulterior motive?
Oh, no. I think he's always had a surrogate father of Jimmy. And this goes all the way back to that great scene where Jimmy gets his law degree, and He's in the break room with the other lawyers. I mean, the other mailroom people.
Yeah.
And wonderful scene. Oh my gosh, I remember doing this. I remember doing this because it was early on, and it's the dumb show of me letting him know that he's not going to be part of HHM.
Right.
And it's cake and everything. Remember, right? It's awful. But as an actor, there was this whole scene where I get to talk.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to hear my own voice, right? And I
Right.
get the director, it was a 𝐿𝐿 It may have been. But I remember them taking me aside at the beginning of the day and saying, look, just so you know, we're not going to hear anything you say, but we're going to run the scene. And I was like, I'm like, oh, totally. Oh, I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally on board with that. And inside, of course, the actor was dying. But then when I saw that, it encapsulated, and this is going back to your question, it encapsulated everything that Howard feels about him. He was trying to, he wanted people to be removed. He didn't want to embarrass him. He wanted to take them. And then we found out later, of course, the only reason Howard is even doing that is because of Chuck.
Yeah.
So buffer as best he can, but because he's beholden to Chuck for those reasons to be explained. And then he gets him a job at Davis and Maine. That's a good place. Cliff, great guy to work for. And then Jimmy throws it away. And then Howard comes back again. Howard has tried to help him again and again and again.
Yeah.
But at this point, that last episode where I leave the courthouse and Jimmy is, he coming unhinged beautifully. Melissa Bernstein, one of our executive producers, directed that. And what I love about that is it pulls back with me as I leave the courthouse. And Howard has set his jaw. Yeah. He's also not going to be publicly drawn into that kind of nonsense. And he leaves the courthouse, and then she flips around and shows this silhouette of Saul unhinged, literally like a crazy man. And at that point, Howard has not washed his hands of Jimmy Saul as a person, but he's let him go. He's let go of any responsibility at that point of trying to help change him or turn him around. And I think there's a difference. And I'm still talking. Sorry, bye.
It's okay. No, and that's the thing too, like that unhinged scene, like where he says, like, I have like lightning bolts from my fingers. Like, it's such a great scene. I know that Bob also, he comes from comedy. And so I'm wondering, like, were there ever times where like you guys just kind of broke character and were laughing? Because I mean, they're very serious scenes, but there's also a little bit of comedy to them because the way he's reacting, it's very it's weird. Like nobody would do that in a courthouse, so.
It is, but I tell you what, there is, we're not like actors with a capital A, but we are actors with a capital A. We take our work seriously. Mm-hmm. The writing is really, really good. And, those pictures that they paint with the shadow and light and the composition of it all. Yeah. And so I want to show up and give my A game. The good thing is though, like we can do that scene, take a break and go back to our chairs and sort of take a break. And then we'll watch a Cubs game. And we'll start, and then we'll talk about this or that, and we'll just do the stuff that you do. Then they call you back to set, and it's like strapping your suit on and getting ready to go again. Mm-hmm. Bob's such a really good actor, and watching him grow into Saul even more as the series has gone on has been one of truly the great pleasures. And by the way, I've had 4 seasons of building up that moment. So when he does yell at me, I can access a sense of frustration and disgust. Mm-hmm. As much if you talk to him, he'd have the same sense of frustration and disgust. And that I think that makes good drama.
Mm-hmm. And with the way the events unfolded last season, who do you think Howard views as a bigger threat as he builds this case now against Jimmy this season? Do you think it's Jimmy or Kim, especially since Kim has shown a very different side? Like it's quite alarming. Like we've never seen this part of her.
Right, but I don't think Howard has either, other than seeing the idea of she's really not taking his advice and pointing as well. And as much as he's let go of helping Jimmy, I think he reaches a point where he feels that Kim is also far gone. And at some point, in order to move on with your life, you have to let people go. They're going to do what they're going to do. You really aren't going to change their behavior. But I think there's bitter disappointment for Howard with Kim in particular. Jimmy's of a different ilk, and I don't think he ever thought he was a serious lawyer anyways.
Yeah.
Kim's a different animal. And he says so when Kim decides to leave the firm, that he admires her and he wish he had put up his own shingle. He tries to pay for a college education, and then she shoves it back in his face. And that's wounding. I think he always thought it was going to be HHM and W.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a chip as much as he could be in the early aughts in Albuquerque wearing a tie bar. Howard was kind of a feminist. He was looking to add her. Granted, it was good publicity, but he wanted to because he cared about her. So it hurts, you know. I'm not saying, you know, he's fine, nice house and a good, you know, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I get no, I get it. And I do feel like the show has evolved from like a lawyer show at the very start to a very dark show about cartels and crime. And I'm wondering, how do you think Howard will adapt to this natural evolution of the series for his own arc, considering the circumstances he's found himself in the direction of the show?
Well, you know, you're not wrong. It's a lawyer show for me. Matter of fact, I sit down and watch it just like all the fans on Monday nights on AMC at 9 o'clock. And sort of, you know, like, what are we doing in the desert? What are all these guns going on here? You know, right. And you know, my parents watch the show too, and they're like, "Oh, we like the lawyer part," and I'm like, "I bet," you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I was like, "Oh, where do paths cross? Where's the intersection of those two things?" And the great thing about the writers, about Peter and Vince, is that they don't do anything just for show or just as a splash to be like, "Ooh, wouldn't it be great if this happened?" So all the things that we find out that happen in season 6, whether they cross or they don't cross, are in service to the story that they've set up. So in that respect, I'm very confident in saying that if you're fans of the show and you've watched and liked what you've seen so far, you will be absolutely satisfied with how it all resolves.
Right. Yeah, and I'm wondering, you know, you share a lot more scenes with Ray and Bob, but I'm wondering, are there any other actors on the show that you maybe can tease that we will see? Will we see anyone that we're going to see like from the other side of the tracks, I guess? Like, are you going to have you meeting anyone?
What I can tell you is this. I can tell you an anecdote from, I think it was season 2. We were starting to film season 2, and I called up Jonathan Banks, and I was like, "Jonathan, you know, I really hope I get to have a scene with you. I'd really like Howard and Mike to have a scene." He just goes, "No, you don't, Patrick. You with me." And I was like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe that's not a good idea." So
yeah, I guess so. You know, the thing is also, has there been anything about season 6 that has surprised you the most in terms of your character's arc?
Yeah, I mean, what's been great and a real pleasure to be a part of this is that, you know, each season they've sort of given Howard another window of his personality, which has allowed, I think, the fans to be able to be like, "Oh, I hadn't considered that about Howard," or, "Oh, I hadn't considered that. Oh, that surprises me." And that's happened consistently from the very beginning, and that doesn't change for season 6. There are definitely going to be windows where people go like, "I didn't know he was like that either."
Yeah. And before I let you go, you know, do you think fans will be satisfied with the show's conclusion?
Yes and no. Yes, because it really delivers on all the things that you want it to deliver, and it answers questions, and it's exhilarating, and it's a roller coaster ride. But nobody wants a roller coaster to end. They want to go again.
Yeah, so, definitely want more of the show. But yeah,
so why? I feel exactly the same.
Of course. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for your time today. I'm such a huge fan of yours, and I really appreciate the time you took today. And I cannot wait for everyone to tune in this season.